Hi, today I wanted to make a video about addictions and relationships, and also about the connection between addictions and substance use and trauma. The reason is that I've worked with people with addictions for many years, and I've found that disproportionately many of them have a past history of trauma or intense grief or loss that's overwhelming. And for many people, whether you have substance use problems in your family and there is a genetic issue or not, for many people, using substances is initially a solution to a problem. It's a solution to feeling overwhelmed. It's a solution to feeling like you can't cope. It's a solution to memories and thoughts that you can't control. It seems like you can be a happy, normal person if you drink or use or whatever you do. And basically, people are trying to forget, really, or avoid something that is really overwhelming. And that's really understandable. If this is kind of you or familiar to you, then chances are that over time, avoidance becomes a kind of way of life, in that whenever there's something that's difficult, the go-to thing, the only thing on the menu is the thing that you're addicted to, or the substance. And then, of course, over time, substance use and addictions can cause their own problems because they have consequences on relationships or work or finances or health, and that causes its own set of problems, and so then there are more things to avoid, and that causes a vicious cycle of substance use. If you're in a relationship with someone who's using substances like this, or has a past history of trauma and substance use, then you might find that your partner is really hard to connect with. They might be hard to connect with emotionally. They might be quite withdrawn. They might be disconnected. They might avoid. They might avoid feelings. They might avoid communicating. They might avoid problems. But also, it's possible, if there is past trauma, that they have either a fight, flight, or freeze response to anything that triggers memories, thoughts, feelings, reminders of the trauma. And that they'll either flee, maybe through substance use, freeze and feel overwhelmed, or attack. And sometimes substance use is connected to the attack as well. They might get aggressive. This makes for really difficult relationship dynamics, in that one person is trying to connect, solve problems, solve the addiction often, work on things. The other person is completely overwhelmed, already has a pattern of avoiding because that you feel so overwhelmed, uses substances as a way to feel less overwhelmed. Then the substances cause problems in the relationship, which the other person wants to solve, and on you go in this kind of vicious cycle. And it can turn into this thing where one person is trying to take all the responsibility and make the other person confront things, do things, change. The other person is freaked out and overwhelmed and uses substances as a way to just forget about all of that, which of course causes more problems. Or if there's a trauma history, you get fight, flight, or freeze responses. And if you're a fight responder, if you get a button pushed or a reminder of the trauma happens, then you're going to be attacking back. And so you can either get kind of dance where one person is pursuing and the other person is retreating and avoiding, or you can get a kind of pattern where one person is pursuing in an attempt to solve a problem and then the other person explodes. And there might be substance use involved in that, and that can be really volatile. If any of this is resonating with you, whether or not you're in a relationship, and you'd like to talk about it some more, it really is something that can be worked with. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to give up the substance, especially not straight away. It's a bit of a balance of kind of figuring out how to start understanding and coping and managing all of this and reducing the substance and working on the relationship at the same time to change that dynamic between the two of you, which is sometimes, causes its own problems. So if you'd like to talk more, I'd be really happy to. You can contact me on my Gmail account. It's jenniferfriedmanhaig@gmail.com, and you can see it on my website. Thank you.